where can an employer even start if they don't know what they can even do to think about this?
No, good question, and I'm looking forward to it as well. And what we find is think about your organization and think about your key stakeholders. Think about your visionary, maybe the CEO, the president, the operator, the financial-minded individual, the CFO, the controller, the director of finance, and then think about your people person, your people, your CPO, your CHRO, your HR director. When we think about healthcare and benefits, a lot of times this visionary, this financial operator, and the people, they can have three different ideas of what success may look like within healthcare and benefits, and even employee ownership. So how do you start to get this team aligned on a long-term vision? It doesn't start with one person spearheading the whole thing, working on it, and then holding grudges behind their back because their CFO and CEO aren't aligned. It starts with everyone getting on the same page. And we see the best way to do that is get everyone in a room talking and get everyone to open up. There are certain questions that employers just aren't asked around healthcare benefits and employee ownership that we find that are very effective to opening up the whole leadership team onto what's happening today and where a leadership team wants to go. Sometimes in these discussions, we find that an HR and a CFO, they may go head to head because typically it's those two that have different ideas of what success may look like within healthcare and benefits. And those conversations that typically would never happen are so constructive to creating a long-term program because you give everyone a voice and a say in the same room where everyone can hear what is happening. So that's where you start. You get everyone in a room and you get them talking around what's happening today that's going well, what maybe isn't going so great, what am I feeling in my role and about how I feel like our program is running, and then long term over the next 1, 2, and even 3 years, where do we want to take healthcare and benefits at our organization? How do we want to communicate to our employees? What do we want our program to look like? How much employee engagement are we willing to introduce? Or do we want the program to run as it is today and have employees not even think about healthcare?
Yeah, and what we see, I would say 90% of the time, is when we engage with employers that they've never spent time on this as a team. And the 10% that do, when we start talking to them, it's a completely different process. And you can tell that really quickly. And the ones that are thinking about their healthcare and benefits program like any other piece of their business, that have a strategy, that they're aligned as a team, and they know where they're going, they're just outperforming their peers. And there's a lot of really well-run organizations and a lot of successful organizations that we've talked to that are having a ton of success, but they're letting healthcare and benefits fall by the wayside. And I get it. They've got so many things on their plate, from forecasting to looking at operations to looking at, employee experience, satisfaction. These things are just piling up on leaders' plates. In healthcare, it's an item that, even though the expense side of it is a top 3 line item on almost every company's P&L, it's an item that just doesn't get a ton of strategy focus. So the thing you can do as a leadership team today in your next monthly meeting or quarterly meeting is be the one to be a little bit bold and say, hey, what's our strategy here if you don't have one? And see where people's heads are at.